decided to take the time, because it's a good idea anyways, to pressure wash out the frame rails that are under the cab, get all the rust and sand and dirt from inside the frame out, as well as do the outside, so that when we get it undercoated, it's actually going on the metal and not on all the crap that's going to then fall off. And all the cab mount spots are clean now too. So we're just going to put them back together, and maybe later on we'll put new cab mounts in, because some of the rubbers are starting to break down. So yeah, we're going to try and get it started now, prime it if it needs to be, crack the injectors if need be, so that it'll be good to go, because sometimes you have to crack the lines later, and then the last two at least won't be able to get to the end of the cab. So yeah, we'll try it first and just see what it does, and if they have to crack lines, we'll do that. Make sure that it at least runs, and then get on to prepping the cab so we can at least get it set on today. Don't have to do too much beyond that, except for maybe set the hood on. So yeah, I realize we don't have an intercooler pipe, but doesn't really matter. It's just going to idle anyway, so the turbo's not doing anything anyway. So, to turn the fuel back on here, I guess. My handy dandy piece of aluminum wire. Get lost, flies. Yep. And this back on power. Okay. Fuel is on.
And it's time to die.
Alright. Everything else should be fine. There's nothing in the fan. Let's see what it'll do. Cracking the lines and see if any of them are actually pumping. Yeah. Looks like most of them now, but it's never going to start at that speed. So we might need a boost.
Here's your car again?
Yeah, I want to grab the booster pack from the trunk there, and we'll try that. Try it again.
That would be bad.
I don't think it's going to spin fast enough to do it. Normally what I do is push that on with the big booster cable.
Yeah, you need
It
more.
smells like smoke, so it's getting close, but it's not enough juice to, or not enough starter to make it.
Yeah, you need more.
the turbo definitely needs rebuilt at some point. It should spool down for a lot longer than that. Although I guess it didn't really work either. It's still on.
Yeah. There we go.
Alright, so that's good, and it should start then, no problem for us, minus battery at any point if we need to move it. So let's get the other cab prepped, I guess, and get it set on here. Alright, so let's quickly get this new cab prepped. The master off of it here. I'm probably blocking the camera. It does look like a either newer or painted master, but I think we'll stick with the one that's sealed up at least for now, because we know it works currently. And this reservoir has also been out in the sun for a long time now, so it's probably very brittle until the cap is faded. Let's hold it.
That heater hose is full.
So what?
That's a good question.
The nest, great. Okay,
So you just got to get the AC thing out of the way because
I'll
it's
grab our tools, which are here, and then we can hopefully do that really quick.
How are you gonna?
So I guess we're ready to try and do some rigging, and then we'll pick this thing up and set it over there and quickly wrap some things up, hopefully. Call her good for this time.
Okay, so much of the rest of the video here is just going to be a time lapse because, well, there's a lot of interesting conversations between Greg and his dad and myself. A lot of it's really long, drawn out, and while it's interesting, it doesn't really make a very good video. So in this part of the video, they're talking about how they want to put the straps on the telehandler forks there in the truck, basically so that we can pick it up as evenly as possible to set it on the frame of the truck, basically so that it slides down onto the truck frame as square as possible. So that's what they're talking about and doing at this point. Okay, so now the process of placing the new cab onto the frame has started, and essentially there's only about 5 centimeters of space between the back of the cab and the front of the box. So when you're setting it down, you have to be really careful that you don't damage the box. And so you can see Greg's dad and myself there watching as he sets it down to make sure that A, it's set down as square as possible, not on an angle, and two, so that because he can't really see, especially on my side, just trying to make sure we don't damage anything. You also notice that the fenders on the front, we also had to keep an eye on that and make sure they weren't in the way of the truck cab coming down, or else you might damage the fenders even more than we did the day before when we pulled the cab off. So that's just what we were doing here. Very slow process. I think it took us about 20 minutes in total to set this down. And you can't really hear much of the conversation anyway over the sound of the diesel engine of the telehandler, so no reason to not have this time-lapsed. Okay, so at this point we're in the finishing stages of setting the new cab onto the frame. So at this point we had the back down in line with the bolt holes, but the front we were still trying to line up properly. And now you can see Greg underneath putting the cab bolts into the frame. We didn't tighten them at this point. In a future video we'll go over the torque specs and everything. It was like 9 o'clock at night at this point, and we were just rushing to get this finished, losing daylight quickly, so we didn't really film this with a particularly high budget. We just showed it for completion. Well,
It kind of looks like a truck again with a black cab.
but we're nowhere near done the swap yet. Lots of
Well,
stuff to do still.
honestly though, the cab install pretty easy.
Pretty well, actually.
When if we'd had a level going off with the other one, it probably would have been even easier than it was. It wasn't bad. But yeah, the cab's in place. I just have to take the bolts out and clean them up and put them back in. Maybe we'll just jockey it a little bit to try and make it as straight as possible with the rest of it. And then yeah, we can start going back through and getting the AC reconnected, all the electrical into the cab, and then we'll probably have to swap that dash because it's pretty rough and missing pieces. And then things like seats, and get a back window in it, and that'll be about it for now, for this truck anyways. Yeah, pretty happy overall. I mean, it is 9 o'clock now, but we got it on and it's closed up before the rain was coming.
Yep.
Whenever rain is coming. I'll probably just tarp or bag the back window for now. So the only thing left that's unresolved is the windows on the other cab, but I'll maybe see if I can do something with that either in the morning or whatever, but we can tarp it for now. So yeah.
You got tools though. You got tools.
Well, everything in the box has to either be covered or put away, so I'll do that after. Anyway, is that the end of this
Episode.
part then?
Whatever we are.
So if you like this video, don't forget to leave a like, leave a comment if you like something or want to see something with this truck or another project. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. We're getting very close to our 1,000 goal for the year. Hit the little bell notification so you know when the other videos like this come out. And yeah, we'll catch you on the next video.